lost. Truly, we are getting lost in Indiana with a local Facebook group, Get Lost Indiana, sharing with you some of the great destinations of our state. We'll also go straight to the edge again with Paul Poteet. We're also getting our yoga on today with Embarque Yoga. So we're getting lost and getting flexible today on the edge.
Your audio and video source featuring Indianapolis tech trends, marketing industry champions, and business innovation. This is Edge of Indy. Broadcasting from Edge Media Studios. Let's get today's conversation started.
3, 2, 1.
Well, welcome back, Indiana and the world. Hey, thanks for joining us on Edge of Indy today. If you don't know what this show's about, if you haven't seen it before, then shame on you. Where have you been? Hey, Edge of Indy is all about focusing on local Indianapolis and Indiana businesses and organizations that are moving and shaking and really making news here in Indiana. We feature people and organizations and causes that make Indianapolis a great place to work, visit, and live. So we ask you regularly, choose local and choose local often here in Indianapolis. That's what Edge of Indy is all about. So thanks for joining us. My name's Aaron Sparks. I'm the CEO of Site Strategics. And to my right, we have the director of Marketing Services, Brittany Simpson.
I answer to anything, so that will do.
That was an odd call.
Sure. Hi.
Hi, Britt. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm a little lost today, and I think you are too. Yay, you're lost.
Hey, there we are. And Sara is our cheerleader for getting lost. Sara Risley is the creator of Get Lost Indiana. Sara, how lost are you right now?
Moderately to extremely, I think. Actually, I'm very comfortable here.
Oh, yeah?
Not that
Good.
lost. This is great.
Excellent.
And I cannot wait to tell you
I think
all
she's
about
comfortable
this.
because we're lost.
It's a regularity that we
There's
are.
people that are more lost than I am.
Yes.
I love that.
And this is where we live, work, and visit right here, and we're still lost.
And that's it's not that strange, actually, folks, if you know us. Sara, you've actually been a fan of the show for a while, and it was great to be able to have you on today.
Tonight.
See,
Again,
there it is.
We don't even know what time of day it is. That's how lost we are.
Well, you're the founder of Get Lost Indiana Facebook group. So tell us about this awesome community you've developed, and then we'll just jump in.
Okay, so I guess I've always been a journaler. I've always written down where I've gone, what I've done, people I've met. I'm a big community person, so I have a journal. I mean, ever since elementary school, that just kind of
That's a
logs
big journal.
my life. They're
Were
like
you
many-
lost
there's
back
like
then?
Stacks. I've always been lost. Always been lost. So I have a stack. I mean, they're pretty much in the same place. They're probably going to go to some shelf of some library here in Indiana when I pass on, and maybe kids will study. They'll pull one and try to figure out who this person, Sara Risley, was. But I've graduated to a Franklin planner because I'm an event person. I need to keep track, and I need to open it. I have an iPhone, but I want to be able to see what I'm doing, and things change, so just change it on paper. Facebook came along, social media came along, and I started putting some of my adventures online. And friends encouraged me to do something with it, and I thought it's just my life. But they enjoyed the way I write and the way I present, and gosh, I take pretty good photographs too. So I got this idea because
You're so humble, Sara.
I didn't know that though. I mean, these are things that I discovered, that I
Yes.
found, that I #found because of Get Lost. I mean, it's a whole new thing, and I wish I would have known about it before. But I think I was lost one day, and I'm like, gosh, I should encourage this. I should encourage other people to get lost, because when you do, you don't have expectations, but a lot of times what you find is just amazing. So it's like I encourage people to get lost. I want people to get off the couch, get off the sofa, get off the device.
Yeah.
Talk to strangers. I encourage U-turns and
Safe ones.
safe ones.
Don't use a GPS.
Well, a lot of them, I'll tell you, are on back roads.
Yep.
And I do U-turns for goats. And I think that is really one of the Yeah.
Say
know what
that.
that- I
Say
don't know
that
what that
again
means.
for us.
Like you see a goat and you turn to go see it again?
Not just goats, maybe, but goats. Like, have you not taken the back roads of Indiana to see the goat farms that are here?
You know, I haven't, but
They
I'm
are
going to
among
now.
us, next to the llama farms.
Maybe, yeah.
I also stop for those. Yes. And so traveling the back roads, I also had a job that took me into other counties. So when I'd have a sales call for my job,
You're like, never mind, I'm driving around.
the rest of the day I would get lost and I would talk to the people. I would go to a restaurant,
Yeah.
I would try the food and then, feature it. And I it's just
I get it. I get it. We
No, we
go camping on a regular basis down in Brown County or a number there. We got a couple 3 scouts in the family, so we're all over the place. But it's great to be able to take the back roads, not just take the highway or 465 or what have you, but actually start finding some of the back roads to get
Right.
there because those areas are not usually well traveled. You're going to find some very unique stuff.
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I
It's
think
great.
that's really what's special about Get Lost and about what I'm doing is that I'm not focusing on the top 10 anything. It's like a day. In Saturdays, I get lost like hardcore from morning to evening because there's so much to do in Indiana. I mean,
So it happened pretty organically. Like you just
Oh.
got lost and you're like, I'm going to document this. How did you grow your following? Because you've got a huge Facebook following and it's
do.
like, it all happened. Like you're not paying these people. You're not paying to get in front of them. Like
I've
they
not.
just are following you and getting lost with you. And
They're
the whole
all-
thing is kind of like,
They
what?
really can't be following her if they're lost too.
they're telling me where to get lost, though.
That's
and
very
what's
deep.
So, yes.
So you have a bunch of random strangers telling you to
They're-
get lost.
But they're not strangers. Not all of them are. I mean, they're friends, but maybe we haven't met yet.
You wouldn't know
Isn't
if you did.
Because you're all facing other directions.
Sorry, it keeps on giving. It's
I love it.
fantastic.
It is. So like if I go to a county, say one of my favorite counties is Miami County, Peru, Indiana. Peru, Indiana is amazing.
Where in the heck is that?
So think
That
north.
way, yeah.
Yes. Kind
North.
of Lafayette-ish.
Oh, that's
area,
way
sort
outside of where I usually go. That's way up there. That's way up there.
I'm from Fort Wayne, so
Oh, you're
and I
way-
have family way down south, so I cover the state.
I
do.
oh, good for you. That's awesome.
But if I go to a county, I go to several places and make it a day getting lost, and then I do a feature, and not only do I mention the people that I met and places I went and tag them, then it just kind of scatters. It just kind of balloons. And so I can, every once in a while, I'll do a shout out to Peru, Indiana, and the friends that I've made there, especially like there's a German bakery.
Yeah, there is.
Whoa.
There's a Connie's little
Yep.
German bakehouse.
It's famous.
It is amazing.
do they make donuts?
No.
Look at Spatzel. No. Yeah, they do.
Butterkuchen.
I'm sorry. Bless you. What?
Okay, you just have to get lost in Peru, Indiana.
What
that's
is it
all I'm
called?
saying. Butterkuchen. Butterkuchen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I'm not spelling this right. As I Google it.
Be careful what comes up on the screen there. So,
Kuchen.
so broadly speaking, okay, so you're talking to us about this is a verb at this point in
That's a
time.
kind of
Actually,
I think it's a kind of karate, by the way.
It's
Getting lost.
Someone
Lost is
actually made it a noun the other day and said, I think this would be a good get lost.
Ooh.
Wow.
I know.
Sarah, you're such a trendsetter. It's like,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, look at my silver streaks of distinction, everyone.
So let's I mean, for everybody to understand, it's about and I'll embellish, but you let me know if I'm on the right track here.
you're supposed to be off the track.
There's a pun here. All right, so it's about wandering with not the destination in mind, but actually the experience as you're getting there, right? So you have a destination, but it's the experience of what you find while you're traveling,
Exactly.
right? And also finding things that are noteworthy and be able to kind of can mark them for friends and family and the get losters, right?
Actually, I call them adventurers They are Get Lost adventures because they are educational adventures. But you're right on track.
Cool.
I think the most important thing is to allow yourself to go somewhere, first of all, but then also to not have great expectations. You never know. And I think that's my thing is I go and I think I'll try this. Or,
Right.
I now when you have an invitation or you see an invitation from Facebook
Right.
that says Hoosier Santas. What?
Yeah.
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 I'm hooked. What is this?
Meeting at Dong's China Buffet. Yeah.
I got a Christmas story flashing in my head now.
Right? In Morrisville, right? In Morrisville.
Yep.
So, I mean, they had me at Hoosier Santas because I'm like, what is this group? So I'm curious and I'm nosy. And now, and so I drove. I said, hey, I have this thing called Get Lost. I want to see what you guys are all about. So now on my page,
Yep.
I have 30 Santas, Hoosier Santas that are following along and
30 stalker Santas.
friends, adventurers.
There you go.
So, but they invite me
That's
to
awesome.
their meetings and things now. That was Dong's China Buffet. This year, it was at Silly Safari.
Oh, very cool.
And so I was out there actually doing a selfie video with the reindeer in the background. And
Naturally.
This is like classic. I've never submitted anything to America's Funniest Home Videos, but this I did. They probably showed it and didn't let me know. But I was doing a selfie video, and behind me, 2 reindeer were showing some dominance, if you know what I mean. And I got it all. Oh,
So they probably didn't show that on television. Or it had to be blurred. I'm
they were
assuming.
just boys. The funny thing, though, is one of the guys from Silly Safaris was like, oh, they're just boys being boys. I mean, they were just boys being boys. And I, during my selfie video, I mean,
So what you're doing, I'm just going to skip on past that. What you're doing is you're showcasing groups and cultures where mainstream will rarely go, and you're coming to meet them, and they certainly appreciate it. And I mean that is authentic connection. That's what social media is supposed to help and be useful for, right?
right. Building community, engaging. Oh, it's yes.
Brittany has a prop.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
You thought I was not going to have props after last week, but I've got another one.
So you kind of have to turn your head though and act like this is a steering wheel.
Yeah, you
Brittany.
gotta go that way.
Well,
Yeah.
this is not my good side.
You got to drive it there. You got to.
This is not my good side, Sarah.
Look at, oh my goodness, that's great. So you're correct. It's all about engaging community.
Cool.
I find the little known, but I also go to, I mean, it's kind of like wherever I go.
Right.
For example, I thought maybe you might ask me, well, Sarah, where have you gotten lost
I'm going to ask
lately?
you this, and that's 2 questions from now.
Should I wait? Okay, I'll wait.
Okay. I want to talk about, though, you really use this platform to help both profit and non-for-profit
Correct.
businesses as well. So
That
tell
is
us
right.
about why that
We
is
can't hear you.
important.
Roll down the window, would you?
I'm sorry. Get off the road.
Oh my goodness.
Tell us. Things have gotten out of control, and I'm sorry. This is insane.
I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You, ma'am, you brought this prop, and you should have known
Thanks a
better.
lot, Sarah.
Okay, fine. I'm going to put it away, and then we'll talk about how you're helping nonprofits and profit companies here in the community. Go.
Okay, so my background is mostly nonprofit events. Before I was doing Get Lost, I was volunteering all over the community. Because again, I'm a community person, and I need to take a drink.
Yes. Have a
You're
sip.
fine.
Yeah.
See, I could be in the car right now.
You can pee in the car.
I could be in the car. I don't pee in cars. I'm a lady.
It sounds like you're all about getting lost. So any favorite experiences being lost that you want to share with us?
Yes. Also, just really quickly to answer Brittany's
Yes.
question before my lips started sticking to my teeth. I love community theater here in Indianapolis. at Fort Bend, Theater at the Fort. I mean, the Belfry, everywhere. So everyone's and I know that they need help. They need help filling seats. So whenever I'm available, if there's a show that I can fit in or something, I love to go and promote for them. So
That's really
absolutely.
nice. I'm sure they appreciate that too.
I'm
No.
sorry.
No,
Circle
absolutely.
back.
All right, so share us some of your favorite get losts.
You used it as a noun too.
I
This
know.
is wonderful.
I'm just
Okay. So, there's so many, and that's what's great about Facebook Memories is that Facebook Memories reminds me of all the stuff I've done. So one of my favorite was there was an event called the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, and it's a vintage motorcycle ride that happens. It's international. And the funds go to support prostate cancer and research. So I saw the information on Facebook. And again, I invited myself.
you're nothing but a crasher. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, but I do good things for. So I love sidecars. I used to work at the Ronald McDonald House here, and they had a Gold Wing Road Riders event where they would come. And in 2 years that I was there were two different sidecars, and my favorite thing to say, and I'm sorry that you didn't ask me an icebreaker, because my favorite thing to say as an icebreaker is I've ridden around Monument Circle topless.
The giggle really.
I don't know how I'd actually get to that particular question.
But I already
Maybe that's something I should ask everybody.
I already gave you some background information. So anyway, the first year the sidecar came, it was like a Mork from Ork thing. Like it was covered. Like I sat in this pod. The second year there was a sidecar that was topless is what I call it. I don't know what you call it. So anyway,
I'm pretty sure it's not called topless. I don't know what it's called.
Let's call it convertible. How about that?
Okay. So back to Gentleman's Distinguished the Road Ride. Anyway, I said, here I am. I would love to feature. I'm here. I would love to feature event. By the way, if anyone has a sidecar, that would be an amazing feature.
So I could ride topless.
No.
Okay.
We're past that.
It was one time.
In college.
So that's what happened. And some really generous people that live kind of in the Nora area have a vintage bike with a vintage sidecar.
Ah, cool.
So
Sidecar Sarah.
vintage cap, hat, helmet.
Bonnet.
Oh my gosh.
Just because
What's
it's
happening
close
here?
to Easter. So 3 hours. It was a 3-hour tour
Oh my gosh.
around Indianapolis and on 465. I mean,
That's pretty cool.
it was amazing and all for a great cause.
Did it mess up your hair?
It doesn't. It did, but it was okay.
But it was worth it.
I mean, I even had one of those because it was vintage. I had the scarf.
You have to.
Yeah.
You can't ride in those and not have a scarf.
can't.
That would be illegal.
So that was definitely one of my favorites. I've canoed the White River, and I mean, every day is something different.
So for anyone who hasn't been lost with you yet, I highly encourage it because obviously she knows how to find a good time. Who is who do you want to connect with? Who should join your community online? Who is this perfect for? I imagine you have like a type of person this is perfect for.
Actually, it's anyone who's leisure, travel, tourism, business, because I promote, and like I said, I have I can't believe that I have over 3,600 people who are tuning in and watching, and to go out in the community and people recognize me and say, hey, aren't you the Get Lost lady? And to be driving in my car on a Saturday and hear someone call in, because I listened to Pat Sullivan, WIBC, to listen along, and this happened. A caller called in and said, hey, I have a question about tiny homes. And all of a sudden, Pat Sullivan says, well, I don't know much about tiny homes, but I do follow the Get Lost lady, and I know that she just spent a couple nights in one, which I did, which was another favorite experience. So you better believe that I called in the show and said, hey, this is the Get Lost lady. Maybe I can skip the rest of your call line and talk to Pat about my tiny home experience. And it happened. So it's kind of catching on that I'm the Get Lost lady, and I kind of like that.
Do people ever yell at you like, get lost, get lost, lady?
No, but I think that's funny.
I'm going to next time I see you. So.
And I love it because it's a double entendre, and that's what I do when I go to businesses. That's part of the thing. It's part of the video. It's like, okay, we're gonna do this video that says get lost at wherever.
And you encourage families to get lost, like take your kids to go get lost too, right? This is not just an initiative.
This is for everyone.
I try to lose my kids all the time.
You can't do that.
They always find their way home.
It's because you fed them.
Well, I mean, duct tape and a bag of kibble, and they still chew their way out. I don't know.
Geez.
I
He's
don't
joking. This is not real. This is an anecdote. He doesn't really do that. That's weird.
My kids.
Have you ever had an interview that has gone so many ways?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's a regular thing here.
All right.
We like to get lost in our interviews.
The
as well.
squirrels are over there. Check them out. We certainly appreciate the work that you're doing to provide exposure to the little-known Hoosier people, places, and things.
Little-known Hoosier people.
Hoosiers,
Little
the people, places, and the things.
Right.
And the little Hoosier people.
But again, like I said, it's not just the little Hoosier people. It is
giant ones.
It's the last night in preparation. I did my homework for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I dined at Convivio.
Very good.
Italian restaurant.
Very good.
And so that was my latest nice feature. So very nice. Just trying to get the word out for all the businesses, and they are actually an Indiana-owned business too. So
Killer.
yeah.
So as you've been getting lost, why focus on these small businesses and entrepreneurs? Why do they need the help? In your words.
Well, advertising is expensive, and I think because I do have a niche again. I'm reaching different audiences, and I do it in a way that no one else is doing, and pretty proud of that.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we're all about local here as well, and we certainly appreciate what you're doing. Any special shout outs for some unique get losters that are out there, or events or places that are just
Top of mind.
Top of mind.
Wow. Oh, wow. That I didn't have time to prepare.
Do you have a favorite bar to get lost at? Is that inappropriate? I thought that was a fair question.
Wow, I do have some friends at McCormick and Schmick's. That's nice.
That's a nice place.
That's downtown, right?
Yeah.
Can't
I
really
think
get
I've driven
lost.
by that. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't been there, but I'm on my way.
Or she's returning from there, ladies and folks.
You need to get lost at their happy hour. Their food,
I do.
Their food happy hour is pretty amazing. If you've not,
I've
been
not.
to that.
That's
So,
good to know. Good
Shout out
recommendation.
for McCormick and Schmick's. I'll be seeing you in a bit.
And I might be with her.
Wow. So, what would you
Look
say?
at him. He's
I'm
he doesn't know where to go.
trying to navigate.
He's lost.
Give me
Are
the
you
bloody
lost?
car.
I'd like to make people lost too. I mean,
I'm into it. Lean into it.
I'm lost in my head most of the day. So there's that. So if I could ask, what makes Indiana and Hoosiers so unique? Get it?
We're still
lost. I hate to say the cliche Hoosier hospitality, but I think it's true.
Cool.
Everywhere I go, I'm invading people's space sometimes.
You're a crasher.
I mean, another favorite. We can talk about favorites. We could bring up my page and show and tell for 2 years. But one of my, I have so many favorites.
Nobody will be offended.
I was in Martinsville, and there was a fishery. Do you know that we have like fisheries, like lots of them in Martinsville? And I was trying to get to one. Somehow,
She got lost.
I got
probably.
lost.
Yep.
And I ended up at a different fishery. And there was an old house. I walked up to this residence.
You're not supposed to go in unless you knock.
I knocked on the door,
Okay.
and I was greeted by an older gentleman, probably in his 80s.
Oh,
Told him who I was. He got the golf cart out.
oh,
We off-roaded through the fishery, through the forest,
It's a wet drive.
all over his property, and
Oh my
he was
gosh.
showing me all the different ponds and the different fish, and he had an albino deer on his property and horses.
those are
and-
rare.
Have you ever seen an albino deer?
I actually have in Wisconsin.
Wow.
It's very rare to see it, but I've seen one. Have you? Other than that one?
Not other than that one.
Have you?
Last 3 times I've been hunting, I've not been seeing any deer, let alone albino
Uh-oh.
deer.
Now she's mad at you. Now she's going to storm off.
Not mad.
Just disappointed.
So why, to wrap up, why should we all be focused on local? I know we talk about it a lot of times, but in your words, why should we be plugged into the communities in which we live?
Because they're our neighbors, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There are people trying to,
Feed their
you know,
families.
it's like
yeah.
me. It's like me. And like, I am also, I didn't ever plan to incorporate Get Lost, but people are contacting me to tell their story.
Very cool.
So, and I'm very happy to do that, especially Hoosier. That's where my heart is, and that's what this is all about. If someday Get Lost International, pow. Yeah.
But if it's everywhere, then there's no place to get
And
lost.
how do you get lost
Yeah.
anymore? You have to have one place where it's not, and then you're still good.
Have you not been listening?
So it's about the journey, not the destination, right?
It's all about your journey. It's all about the people that you find once you're there. I've been lost like a lot. Another story.
There's a soundbite
Yes,
for
what-
you folks.
Another story. So I have relatives. This is great. This is like a 4-parter, maybe. I don't know. I have family that live in Christmas Village in Santa Claus, Indiana. Do you see where this is going? Do you see?
I think we're going to get lost with Santa, but go on.
So Christmas Village is a place. There is a hotel with a conference room. So I missed the turn into Christmas Village neighborhood where my
Ma'am,
gosh.
ma'am, please.
I shouldn't talk with my hands so much. So I missed the turn. I see the lodge, pull in the lodge, and I'm turning around, and here walk out 3 of the Santa Clauses that I met at Dongs.
Oh my
China.
gosh.
Yes. Okay. So then this is the same day. There was a gated community that wasn't exactly gated.
She's a lockpick.
Nothing keeps her away. She is not deterred by fences
Get
or
lost
gates.
and breaking in and breaking in, entering.
There might not have been anyone at the little station.
No one with a weapon. So
So I went in, and because I'm a sponge. I want to learn. I want to see.
You want to find some more albino deer?
Exactly. More Santa Clauses in Santa Claus, Indiana. They're like leprechauns.
she just lets herself in. That's like my new favorite thing. Like, well, I'm
Here for a reason.
I'm
So
strategically lost right now. Okay, get off my back.
Here's my card. Officer, I'm doing this for you.
It's for the good of the people.
So I'm driving around, and I had no idea there were so many different lakes in wherever I was in this gated, not gated community. Because it wasn't a gate.
Poorly gated.
It was like a farm. It was almost like a farm market stand. It wasn't a gate. So I'm driving around, and I got so lost. Like, literally, I got so lost that I had swallowed my pride
And you admitted it?
And I had to ask a fellow
how do I get out of here?
passerby. Yes, he had to let me out.
I love it so much.
Yeah, that's the thing is that if
That's
you're getting
hard.
lost so often, odds are you will eventually need help to get back to civilization, right?
If you get lost so often, though, you're going to find out where you are. That's the fun thing about getting
You'll
lost.
learn a new route home. Just keep getting lost.
Or live off the land.
Start a new life somewhere new.
Oh,
I love it.
So final thoughts for people who might be stuck in a rut. What advice would you have for Hoosiers, even little Hoosiers, who need a break out of their routine?
So much to see right here. One tank getaways, they are here. Just if you're at all clued in, and even if you're not, there are so many channels to find events, to find things that are going on in Indianapolis.
Yep.
Facebook is there, but there's also Bob Birchfield's around Indy.
Absolutely.
I can't. So there are many weekends when there's too much to do. And if I ever hear anyone say there's nothing to do here, it's kind of like, all right,
You're a crazy
I
person.
really don't know what to say to you because there is like
Go tell them to break in someplace.
Just knock on a door. Let yourself in.
There's a space right there. Well, go in, they
all
won't
right,
mind.
you guys.
Have you crawled under that yet today? I love
Hey,
it. No,
but it makes for a great story.
Yeah, it
And
does.
people, and I think that's awesome. I'm not breaking in anywhere.
no, you knocked.
Officially, no, she's not.
It's
Officer.
first impressions. It's not. It's totally not. It's the idea that, and to answer your question, it's Hoosier hospitality. People are willing to tell their stories.
Absolutely.
They want to tell their stories, and they know that hey, I'm gonna tell their story to thousands.
And you know what?
Of other
Anybody who doesn't want to, you don't need to talk to them. 'cause
Tell them
those
to
are not
get, tell
your
them to get
people.
lost.
You tell them to get lost.
right.
That's right. Hand them a sticker, maybe.
So, Brittany,
Get lost. Yes.
wrangle us in here. Where are the
Yes,
socials?
please.
You never have me say this, but okay. let me do this on the fly. Facebook.com/GetLostIndiana, Twitter @GetLostIndiana, and Instagram @GetLostIndiana. High five on branding continuity. Good job.
Wonderful. That's great.
Very good.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Keep
Well,
telling stories. It's fun.
absolutely. And we'll certainly be watching you from afar and rooting for you to get lost regularly. And great building that the tribe of followers. And it's great to be able to, what you're doing is bringing exposure to a heck of a lot of local businesses and
really
causes. And they appreciate that a lot of times more than the big companies do, big organizations. I mean, that's where you can really tell somebody's story, and they truly do appreciate everything that you can do. So thanks so much for being the field operative for local Indiana.
And I am going to yell, "Get lost," if I see you out in public. Is that okay?
Please do that.
I'm going to act like I don't know you, though. Like, ma'am,
I
get
will,
lost.
I will stop and be like,
There we go. So for all of our Edge of Indy listeners and watchers, if you come across Sarah, tell her to get lost
and
and get lost often.
the sign. I
what
try
is-
to do this. It's backward. It's backwards. It's backwards. Get lost.
Okay, there.
I see the L.
Thanks so much, Sarah, for your time
you.
today. We really appreciate it, and you're doing an awesome job. What a fun
Thank
thing to
you.
do.
Now
thank
get
you.
lost,
Now
please.
get
Hey,
lost.
get lost.
You.
All right. So with that, we're going to get lost with Paul Poteet on the Edge, coming up right after these messages. Well, this was such a tedious investment in the Indianapolis community. We wanted to really help NX3 shine. It's a fantastic opportunity to be able to bring site strategics and everything that we've been able to grow to be here over the last few years, and then plug into the community, be able to help, be able to support a number of brands that are here. But more importantly, really, it's a gathering for our team to really just get out of the office and just have some fun together. A lot of times we're working so hard that we don't see a lot of the tech startup community. And this is exactly why we moved downtown, is to be able to have that connection. And this was a great platform to be able to really roll out what we do. Last year was the year of pivot. I mean, we left the South Side, knew that we had to be downtown in Indianapolis just because of the technology scene. And on top of that, we tripled our footprint, our square foot footprint downtown to make room for our live cast studio, as well as be able to expand into a much larger collaborative space for all our employees. Our role in the tech community is going to take off like a rocket ship. It honestly is, we look to help give lift to so many companies with our digital marketing tactics, as well as our studio, to be able to paint the picture, tell the why story of so many of these organizations. We've got a great team of videographers, be able to, podcast technology that is surpassing almost everybody in the country. And I'm really proud of this convergence of skills and technology to help tell a story for all of these other companies. We have organically grown, and we are now bringing a great number of really sharp people into our organization, because it's time to do that now. And with everything that we've been able to invest in from skill sets and technology, we are now really able to tell our own story, as well as so many other companies. And I got a lot of pride in who is part of this organization now. I'm proud of each and every individual that works for Site Strategics. There's no way I could have ever done this without a good deal of blessings and a good deal of really caring people to get us to this degree. And I'm just so excited about what we're about to do. The next couple of years is just going to be fantastic.
So Edge of Indy is a weekly Facebook Live broadcast where we interact with some of Indy's best and brightest movers and shakers, promote our internal brands, so Site Strategics and Edge of Indy itself. Additionally, we wanted to really connect Indianapolis and form connections with people we might eventually want to do business with. You know, small mom and pop businesses or restaurants, startup companies, small to medium-sized businesses, some of Indy's bigger organizations. You know, there's a lot of good things happening, but a lot of times you're either missing it or you're so tied up in your day-to-day that you don't know what's going on. And so this is just a quick and easy way to learn about awesome things going on in our city. Edge of Indy is less than a year old, and within that year we've had over 155,000 Facebook Live views, over 1,000 individual show shares and show likes. And then in terms of show downloads of the podcast itself, there have been over 4,000 of those. So what I want to say about Paul Poteet is that he brings definitely a new energy to the show. It's kind of a dad energy. He and Aaron like to swap the dad jokes and make it like a dad versus dad thing. And then you've got this blonde girl in the middle, this millennial that's just like, oh dad. And it's always nice to have him. He brings a really fun energy, and it's always good to know what weather lies ahead. We have a lot of big plans for what lies ahead. We are looking for sponsors, so to get companies engaged and kind of getting their backing and support in the community. Maybe one day have more than one show a week. That's something to build towards. We are looking at having like on-site live shows on location other places. So taking it out of the studio, packing it up, and going to our guests and interviewing them there. You should definitely tune in every week because we've got some great guests who really need some support here in Indianapolis. Just fun and a light, easy way to learn about what's going on. And tune in for some great, happy, lively, fun conversations.
Real life, real stories. Let's see what's trending in Indianapolis. This is Paul Poteet on The Edge.
I always wait for those dance moves. I never know which one's going to come out.
Cheers. That's
Cheers.
mine.
Oh.
That's one of my grandpa mugs from.
What are you drinking?
Straight whiskey. No, I'm. Why does Grandpa smell?
Hi, Paul.
Just the third, fourth cup of coffee. Don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed. Hey, are we solo again today?
We are. You and me. This might become a thing. We just don't know what's going to happen.
I know. It's kind of sad to see the empty chair. That's too bad that we can't just change the set for a couple of weeks and just physically sit me down next to you.
I know. Well, you're allowed to come visit whenever you want.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, all of a sudden, I'm the lazy one instead of Aaron.
Look what you've done. So what do you have for us on The Edge today?
Turned me right around. I have a couple of interesting stories. First of all, people sometimes like to economize, especially at a young age. We all have heard of these millennials, who, maybe don't have money for their own house. Maybe you want to have a roommate, but maybe you've never thought to have your spit analyzed before to find the perfect roommate. Whew. Thank goodness there's a company now that does that for you. Spare Room will analyze your DNA to find a compatible roommate.
Based upon
Genetic markers for roommate compatibility. 14 different traits: spontaneity, optimism, confidence, risk-taking, self-awareness, and stress tolerance. Well, if I can tell you right now, I'd be stressed to have to spit for somebody. Right now, the service is only available in the UK, but they hope to launch it in the US later this year. So forget Craigslist.
these 14 things don't matter to me. Like, I care about, like, do you make a lot of crumbs?
Yeah, right. Cleanliness.
Do you snore? Can I hear you sleep?
Well, maybe this is self-selecting. If you're the kind of person who will just, give up their DNA for strangers, maybe I don't want to live with you. Maybe you'd be doing it around.
Maybe that's a red flag in and of itself.
But did you know that so much could be derived from DNA? I guess I didn't realize that. How can they tell how your spontaneity and optimism and confidence just from that?
I don't know, and it's.
If we do 20, well, you and I and Aaron should all do that. Is that 23 and me? Is that the deal?
I believe so.
Where they analyze your DNA. But 14 different traits. A chatty extrovert with high confidence might find she's suited to living with a more relaxed introvert.
The introvert would hate that, but okay.
Yeah, right. Spare Room if you want to Google it and get more information.
Interesting. Well, good luck, everyone.
Yeah, a little bit of science there. This, I think, is kind of fascinating too.
Yeah.
It's these identical twins. They're not identical anymore.
I saw that. This is crazy, and I don't understand a bit of it, but it's interesting.
What are the chances I could find 2 DNA stories for you on the edge? But I did. This was a NASA twin study. Scott Kelly was in space for quite some time. He has a twin, and he had an identical twin. Dun, dun, dun. 7% of his genes did not return to normal after his return to Earth. And I don't mean they shrank in space. I mean his GENES, Brittany.
GENES.
He was aboard the International Space Station, and they compared his results before and after with his identical twin, Mark, who remained on Earth. 7% of his DNA. Get this. They're the 2 dudes right there. I don't know if that's before or after. I mean, they look alike. But he's now taller, Scott Kelly, the astronaut, now taller than his twin.
How much taller?
I know. That's the first thing I thought of, too. What the heck? I love being an astronaut now. So he ended up being taller as a result of being in space. That sounds great maybe to you, but also space flight is associated with oxygen deprivation stress, increased inflammation, and dramatic nutrient shifts that affect gene expression. So yeah, you might be a little bit taller, but you might be a little more inflamed too, and that's not good. And don't they always say a lot of things spring from too much inflammation, health problems? I don't know who they are, but
those people.
That's when you've read stuff and you can't remember exactly where you're. That's what you say. You know what they say.
Interesting. Well, I wonder. Why did that happen? What happened up there?
Well, everything is, the environment is so totally different. I don't quite get the whole, how he is taller now. Things because of
there's a stretching machine. They stretched him.
Yeah, with a lack of gravity. That's what I always blame, me losing. I mean, I've lost like a good half an inch, 3/4 of an inch from when I was in high school.
Really?
Headroom? Yeah, it's sad. It's very sad.
You're still plenty tall. Aren't you still? You're still tall. I think you're tall.
I'm about 5'11" and a half. But
you read much taller than that.
Well, I aim the camera a certain way so there's always never very much headroom. You know what? That's like the biggest thing. If you wanted to know the FAQ, what people say to me when they meet me in person, one of the first things I hear most of the time is, "You're taller than I thought you would be."
Really?
I always think, well, what you have nothing to go by when you see on TV, because usually it's the same shot because it's the chroma key thing, and everybody kind of gets framed the same way. But you're taller than that.
And what do you say? Thank you, or I'm sorry, or
I usually just say, no problem. It's just the way they aim the cameras. Well, if I went into space for a year and came back and joined you, we'd have to re-aim this camera here because I could get back to high school.
That's funny.
It would be awesome if you were like younger. I don't know if they've done tests like to compare him with his identical twin. Is he younger, or is his body? I would think there's more stress being. I
would imagine, but then again, what do we know?
Yeah, if you were just in space all the time, but it's the getting to space, coming back. It's that whole launch thing, and and splashdown. That part seems to be. You know how they always say the roughest part of air travel is the takeoff and the landing, right? Or the most, maybe the most dangerous part. Once you're cruising, you're fine at 30,000 feet. So I would say it's the same thing. The space station. It's that whole launch, that whole splashdown. That's kind of rough
the getting home part. Jeez.
Yeah, kind of rough on the body. So anyway, that's story number 2, and we are heading into the end of Lent, and this weekend is Easter Sunday. Got your bonnet ready?
Always got my bonnet ready. Are you crazy?
That'll add. That can add. You get the right hat. That adds 2 inches, man. Well, here is a story for the season. Baby Jesus has returned. As Baby Jesus statues stolen nearly 90 years ago, and that's a little more than a baby Jesus there, doesn't it? That looks like a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old Jesus. The statue was returned to a Hoboken, New Jersey church. Get this, almost 90 years after it was stolen.
Wow.
So the church.
It wasn't the person who stole it who returned it, obviously.
No, obviously. What the baby that was stolen from the church's nativity display in the early 1930s, the statue somehow came into this person's grandfather's possession, and the man never returned. Somehow it came into granddad's possession.
What a mystery.
And the man never returned it. Instead, this is the person talking. Instead, he gave it to my mother after she was married, and she too kept it until her passing when it came to me.
Why are we hoarding baby Jesuses?
Quit hoarding. These should be shared. As a matter of fact, there's a phrase for that, the Great Commission. You should share Jesus with everyone. But they were hoarding baby Jesus. And so she said, knowing the story, I felt it should be returned to the rightful owner, and you will find it enclosed. And the people at the church said they took the note on good faith and welcomed baby Jesus back into the church. The plaster statue is in great condition after those 80 years with only a chip on the bottom. And they've traced it back to Crystal Springs, Florida, of course. Florida.
Obviously, we know what happens in Florida.
The parish has been in existence since the 19th century, has old statues and relics in storage, but they're not sure that they have any other parts of the nativity scene that actually correspond to the one that they stole baby Jesus from back in the 1930s. Well, it was the Depression when people did crazy things.
Like stole baby Jesus.
I would just think that's like the last thing I would steal. I would be looking, I would be my own lightning detector after that.
Makes you wonder, how did the person who stole that die?
Right. That's what the story has left out.
Let your imagination run wild there.
Well, a happy Easter weekend to all. And those are some of the stories. Really, you should consider a bonnet maybe for next week's show. Just,
I have worn bonnets before for Halloween. So I'll try and dig it up.
All right, I'll put on my stovepipe hat or something and come back and find some more stuff for you on the edge.
As far as weather goes, it's kind of a mixed bag, unfortunately. I think we're going to not really see sunshine at any point ever again. A few stray showers linger into Wednesday morning, rain likely after midnight into Thursday. Shower chances return Saturday afternoon, and rain, and there could be some snow mixture. I know, I'm really sorry. I just reported, don't be mad at me. More rain and snow showers Monday night. Eventually, I figure we're just going to go directly into April showers, and maybe we'll see sunshine by June. So just hang in there, everybody.
All right. Hey, Site Strategies is proud to be the title sponsor of Edge of Indy and wanted to share it with the listeners and watchers of the show. A special offer. We provide digital marketing strategies here at Site Strategics, and we're constantly being asked about the question of return on investment. That's truly what you're focused on with any marketing firm, right? Well, we'd like you to discover your marketing ROI, so why not have a second opinion to check out your investment and if it's paying off or not? So we ask you to jump on over to our site. As special offer, it's offers.edgeofindy.com/ROI, and you can sign up right then and there to have a conversation about the report that we do for your digital marketing return on investment report. We look at your SEO, your social media, your paid advertising, all different spaces, including your own website, to see how well you're actually transacting and how well your investment's paying off for you. So go check out everything over at offers.edgeofindy.com/ROI.
This is Edge of Indy, showcasing Indianapolis tech trends, marketing industry champions, and business innovation. Broadcasting from Edge Media Studios. Now, let's get back to today's topic.
So we're back. We're not lost anymore.
I really need to find my center, though.
Yes, you do. You do. And you know, you need to kind of bring it all back in this holistic concept of Edge of Indy, right?
That's exactly right. Please speak more soothingly to me.
I don't know if I can, but I know Alyssa Pfenning can. She's the owner of Embarque Yoga. Alyssa, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
We've been lost for a while here.
I heard.
Could you tell?